morning and welcome to the What's Up News Network being broadcast from Panama City Beach, Florida, home of the world's most beautiful beaches. I am Jim Free with Jim Free Realty. Please click on the red subscribe button just below the picture. In the local news, Thunder Beach, red tide, and high surf dominate the local news. Thousands of bikers enjoyed a great week at Panama City Beach. The bikers pump a lot of money into the economy and we appreciate them being here. Panama City Beach police said the calls for service went up, but by and large the bikers behaved themselves and had a good time at the world's most beautiful beaches. Over the years we've seen a number of women riding their own bikes, but we still see a few women riding with their husbands. Red tide has been rather strong this week and has caused a lot of coughing and sneezing. The algae blooms can be very toxic to fish and other sea creatures. As a cold front moved through the area, it brought 6 to 8 foot surf. That keeps boats in their slips and swimmers on the sand. Hopefully the high surf will move the red tide out. In state news, in Vero Beach, Florida, from Nexstar, 2 newly hired physical education teachers at a Florida elementary school were arrested after the shooting of a man whose apartment they entered thinking it belonged to someone else, following a night of drinking. Nothing good is happening after midnight, said Sheriff Eric Flowers during a news conference. These 2 guys are going out. They're drinking at the bars. By 4 a.m. they're involved in a shooting. Sheriff Flowers said the 2 men apparently thought they were at the home of a woman they had visited several hours earlier. Hollenbach, one of the teachers, went in and got in bed he thought was with the young lady, but it actually was the couple's bed, and Flowers said that Hollenbach, 27, one of the teachers involved in the incident. The report said Darius Cohen, the other teacher, got into a scuffle with the male occupant while outside the unit. The report says that Cohen chased the owner and fired 4 shots at him, striking him once in the back. The sheriff's office said that the man's injury wasn't life-threatening. David Moore, the school superintendent, said that during the news conference that he fired both men from their teaching positions last week. Cohen is facing a charge of attempted felony murder. His fellow teacher, Hallback, 27, is facing a charge of possession of a controlled substance. On the lighter side, I was in Walmart a few weeks ago. The checkout line was rather long. The man 2 customers ahead of me was carrying a 50-pound bag of Purina dog chow. The woman behind him asked him, "Do you have a dog?" He said, "No, ma'am, I don't. I'm on the Purina dog chow diet. I keep some of the pellets in my pocket. When I get hungry, I eat a few of them." She said, "Does that work?" He said, "Well, last time I was on the diet, I lost 50 pounds. But I had to stay in the hospital 6 months. She said, "Oh my, did the dog chow poison you?" He said, "No, ma'am. I was crossing the street. I saw a fire hydrant and I felt an urge to hike my leg, and that's when the truck hit me." You know, men tend to get into trouble by themselves, wherever they're from. If it doesn't matter if they're from Booger Holler, Georgia, or from Panama City Beach, Florida. Brenda Gail Sarton was given a testimony about her little Beretta Pico 380. She said that little pistol had saved her life. She goes on to say that her husband of 20 years had taken up with his secretary, and as a result, Brenda Gail and her husband had decided to get a divorce. They had been very successful and accumulated several assets. The couple had met 21 years ago at the St. Andrews Park, so they decided to meet at the park to discuss how they would divide their assets. They were walking near Alligator Lake and must have been near some baby alligators. when an 8-foot mother came charging out of the brush. Brenda Gale said, "Luckily, I had my little Beretta Pico with me and was able to get off a well-placed shot that saved my life." The interviewer said, "Do you mean that you took down an 8-foot alligator with one shot from a .380? "Oh, no," explained Brenda Gale. "I didn't shoot the alligator. I shot my soon-to-be ex-husband in the kneecap." Well, we had a little excitement in Booger Holler. Tommy James, a 15-year-old boy, came home with a Porsche, and his parents began to yell and scream. "Where did you get that car?" He calmly told them, "I bought it today." "With what money?" demanded his parents. "We know that a Porsche cost a lot." "Well," said Tommy, "this cost me $15. The parents began to yell even louder. "Who would sell a car like that for $15? "It was the lady who lives in the new house on Booger Holler Road just past Morgan Dairy," Tommy said. "Don't know her name. They just moved in. She saw me ride past on my bike and asked me if I wanted to buy a Porsche for $15. "Oh my goodness," moaned Tommy's mother. "She must be one of those child molesters that we read about in the Atlanta paper. Who knows what she would do next? John, you go right up there and see what's going on." So Tommy's father drove to the house where the lady lived and found her in the yard planting flowers. He introduced himself as the father of the boy who she had sold a Porsche to for $15 and demanded to know why she did it. "Well," she said, "I thought my husband was on a business trip, but I learned from a friend he has run off with his secretary and really doesn't intend to come back. This morning I got a call from my husband. He claimed he was stranded and asked me to sell his Porsche and send him the money. So I did." Well, while we're talking about Booger Holler, I have to tell you about one person I'm really proud of. We come from a very patriotic community, and most of the college professors are conservative, but we occasionally find a liberal in our midst. A professor got up and said, "If God really exists, let him knock me out of this chair." Nothing happened. The class was very quiet. He said, "Now I'll give him 2 more minutes." A Marine vet from Booger Holler happened to be in the class. He stood up, punched him in the face, knocked him out of the chair, then sat back down. When the professor came to, he looked at his student and said, "Why did you do that?" The Marine said, "God was busy protecting my buddies still fighting for your right to say and do stupid stuff like this, so he sent me." From the national news in the New York Post, we found that the National Institute of Health stunningly admitted that they had conducted a function of gain at the Wuhan lab, despite Anthony Fauci repeatedly insisting to Congress that no such thing happened. Have you ever heard of the hero syndrome? It's a term used by the media to describe the behavior of a person seeking heroism or recognition, usually by creating a harmful situation to objects or persons which they can resolve. This can include unlawful acts such as arson. The term has been used to describe the behavior of civil servants such as firefighters, nurses, police officers, security guards, and politicians. I suppose it could apply to a health official who started a pandemic and then tried to save us. If such a person did exist, he would probably be on TV every day telling us what we should do so he could save us from the virus. Oh well, just a thought. The left-wing Democratic Party, along with the teachers' union, continue to push critical race theory and critical gender theory on our school-age children. The people are behind this nonsense are in the minority, and for too long we have let the tail wag the dog. But I believe we are awakened now, and this will soon come to an end. Do we really care what Hollywood bunch of folks have to say about our school systems or our government? The president and his left-wing party want to devalue the currency of our country. Everything they can put our country deeper in debt. Inflation is already hurting the middle class. The president wants to add or hire 87,000 new IRS employees to go after the some 800 billionaires in the country. This would double the size of the IRS. That would be about 108 agents on each billionaire. Do you think the billionaires will leave their money and their factories in this country if the taxes are raised on them and everything they do is scrutinized by dozens of IRS agents? I doubt it. The lower income citizens don't pay taxes. They receive IRS earned income tax credit that you pay for. So that leaves the middle class that will pay all the taxes. They are trying to tax everyone on unrealized capital gains. They try to sell this as just a tax on the rich, but they are really looking at the middle class. Let's suppose that last year your home was worth $100,000 and you have no intention of selling it. But because of inflation and the housing shortage, your home is now worth $175,000. The president would want you to pay tax on that $75,000 unrealized capital gains. The same thing would apply to stock you might own or to your retirement fund. If you think they're not aiming for you, why do you think they want the IRS to be able to see everything in your bank account if you have over a $600 transaction? I have been described as a deep thinker by some of the folks in Booger Holler who are also deep thinkers, but I still have some things that bother me, and perhaps you can help me. If the number 2 pencil is the most popular, why is it still number 2? Why do we drive on parkways and park on driveways? Why does fat change and slim change mean the same thing? Why do people say heads up when you should duck? And why are there no B batteries? And most importantly, why is a pair of underwire just one item? Well, there you go. That's the news, and that's my opinion. Until we meet again, may God bless you, your family, and this great nation that we live in.